Hello, viewers. This is your Michael from Screen Review, bringing you a new podcast from myself called The Project Red Review. And like always, I'm going to speak very loudly, very clearly, and very slowly, in case you don't understand me. Also, I'll try to do my best not to waste my time during this art podcast recording as well, not to cause any or repeat actors as well. And finally, if you're under 18, this art podcast recording will contain for adult language. Once again, if you're under 18, this art podcast recording will contain for adult language because you're under 18. Under 18. Now, if you're over 18, that means you have to watch this art podcast recording. Now, with this and everything else out the way, let's get into the latest episode of Gavan Infinity. So basically, we see Gavin Raya. We see Gavin Raya being interrogated by Wasabi and Pat the Robot. So basically, Pat the Robot was trying to get information out of Gavin Raya, using food and whatnot that Wasabi brought in, like a bowl of noodles and whatnot. But since Jiraiya is basically a ninja, he used some ninja techniques to get away from Pat the Robot and Wasabi and whatnot. So basically, meanwhile, Raisin and the rest of the crew, along with his boss Karen, was checking out his remote gear, which is the fear emote gear and whatnot, and basically, they're wondering what the hell is going on. Okay. So basically, wondering what is Gerard's motive. So basically, did he came? Why did he came here to our Earth just to steal the tornado unit? Trying to figure out why would he come to the Earth and just steal the tornado unit in our spaceship? And basically, Jirai showed up on the bridge and started to attack. It started to attack something. We started to attack the wire and pin him down, and basically, well, you come to me to Earth, he was you're coming with me to Earth free to Raging. Raging was all right, what for? What for? Whoa, that's all right. So basically, you guys are you're coming with me. That's all I know. So basically, it's interesting. But turns out, back on Jirai's Earth Zeta, turns out that a female crime boss of a syndicate has his sister hostage. So basically, he was on a mission to not to steal the tornado unit at all, or was there to get Jirai instead. To get Raiden instead. So basically, and basically that's what Raging was started to question him, and he started having thoughts about his sister being held by that female crime boss back back on this Earth, and basically and turns out that Hasana is that's the name that's the wife's sister's name. Hasana is a genius being held by a female crime boss back on her Earth in this weird spaceship cube. Kind of looks like a bullet cube and whatnot. And basically, it turns out that Hassan was making some battle armor for the female crime boss to use and whatnot. But Hasna, but the female crime boss, Lyda wanted her to watch that battle armor because basically, and Hasna was like, okay, but there might be some problems. I can't guarantee. I can't guarantee it will function very well and whatnot. If you give me time, I will make sure it functions very well. But if you rush me, it's going. You might have some problems to suit. So basically. Lida didn't care. She told Hasana to basically hurry up and finish that battle armor, and soon your brother will. I have a feeling that your brother will grace us with his presence very soon. So anyway, so basically after that, we cut back to, so basically, Jirai decided to leave without Raging and basically took his, dimension hop back to his own dimension, and basically Karen, Karen, who was the dude, who was also Raging's boss, told him that, so basically, Wasabi and Pataroma did tell them about the escape of Jirai, but like 5 minutes later and whatnot. And basically, that's when the alarm went off on the spaceship. But basically, they managed to track him. So basically, they managed to track his dimension jump, and basically, they took the tornado unit to go after him, and basically, so basically, and basically they follow, they dimension jump to Earth Zeta, and basically, racists believe that I believe that there's someone you they caught up. So basically, excuse me. Sorry, I needed to snooze. So basically, Racing went down to Earth Zeta by himself and find Jirai. And basically, Racing believes that, I believe someone is being held. I believe somebody's being casted by. I believe somebody you have specialists being held by some bad guys. So basically, I'm here. I'm just here to just to help you out with your situation. So basically, you take the lead, and basically it turns out that masked bad guy who is one of Jirai's superiors is also working for the syndicate as well. And basically Jirai was like, I caught the other Gavan who can. I found the other Gavan who can cross two dimension jet as well. So basically, Jirai mission was to get Raging because he has the ability to cross to different dimensions and whatnot. So basically, he took them to Lida, the syndicate boss, and Lida was like, oh, good, it's good to see you again, Kunai, and that's Jirai's real name. His real name, Jirai is his Gavan chef's name, but his real name is Kunai. Kunai, so you bought the Gavan who can you bought the second Gavan who can go across dimensions and whatnot. So basically, and Kunai said, I did what you said. I did what you say. So basically, let my sister go. Well, it turns out that Lida wants to figure out the powers of Raging and Kunai's abilities to cross dimensions, and basically she wants to build a client empire throughout the multiple dimensions and whatnot. So anyway, and basically well, I can't let your sister go, cause you had not from me the third Gavin that can cross two dimensions, that being Death Gavin. So basically, she wants all three. She wants all three of them to study their powers. That way they can use. That way she can use the dimension hopping powers to go to the different universes and and basically so negative emotions and basically build her client empire and whatnot. So anyway, so basically after she after she went back on her word, about not letting, Kunai was kind of distraught that she went back on her word because you said that I only have to bring. You said I only have to bring another one, another Gavin that can, that can cross this dimension just like me. You didn't say I have to bring back another one as well. And basically, Raisin and Kunai decided to start to say screw this, and started to take down Lida's operation. But Lida used a negative emoji to teleport back to Earth Zeta, and basically using that battle armor that Hasuna, Kunai's sister Hasuna made, and basically started to fight against, Raisin and Kunai. So basically Kunai transformed into his Gavin form, and so did Raisin. And basically turns out that Raisin's crew was in contact with Kunai's boss, with the Galaxy Police and Kunai's boss on Zeta and whatnot, and explained the situation that was going on and whatnot. And basically, Raisin went to go back to Lida's ship to go save his sister, while Kunai, so basically Raisin made a deal with Kunai that you take care of Lida, I will deal with saving your sister with my crew with the tornado unit. So basically, with the help of the tornado unit and Raisin's crew, they was able to save his sister while Kunai was fighting against Lida in that battle that Kunai's sister Hasuna made for her and whatnot. So basically, they kept on. So basically, they kept on warping back and forth from different locations against of the remote, the power of the negative emoji and whatnot. So basically, Raisin and crew managed to save. So basically, Raisin and crew managed to save Kunai's sister and destroy Lida's ship and whatnot. And basically, the battle armor that Lida was using started to malfunction, and therefore, Kunai was able to take her down, and basically and that spy dude and all her flunkies were all captured by his boss and the Galaxy Police of Zeta. So basically, Raisin kept his word, and basically, Kunai, told him his real name, my real name is Kunai and whatnot. So basically, everything ended well, and basically, Kunai got his sister back, and basically, before, when they put the cuts on Lida, Lida said that, started to say the same thing that, that Gavin Death said to Raisin a while ago in their encounter. So basically about the universe about the universe being will reveal the true villain behind this and whatnot. So basically she was there's a way bigger villain. There's a way powerful villain out there in the universe. You guys just don't know about it. And basically, like, and that's what reason which so basically, raising it was thinking that that whoever this true villain is, it might be the reason why death it might be the reason why is behind Gavin's death behavior and whatnot. So anyway, the episode ended with Lila trying, with Hasana, what Hasana trying to get a blood sample to Raisin and whatnot, and basically Raisin said that, I would like to work with you, and meet the other Gavins, and of course, I like to work with you, and basically, and go across, and meet the other Gavins that you met so far, and basically, and Hasana trying to get a blood sample with this big ass needle from Raisin, and Raisin was like, and basically we see Kunai holding Raisin down, and while Hassan had this needle trying to get some blood out of him, and basically, and Aggie was just smiling while Hassan was trying to get some blood for him, and basically that's how the episode ended on this note. So anyway, once again, this was a good episode. So finally we got a female dinner in this episode. So basically I'm glad that we got a female dinner in this episode. So anyway, what do you guys think about the latest episode of Gavin? Good, bad, or just okay? Please let me know. Anyway, starting off from Screen Reviews. 1.